Okay. Yes. We are live. Well, it's just me here. Um, and yes, I'm going to talk about the Epstein files again because it's important. I'm not going to go into details about the files uh, or about which people are involved, were involved, but I am going to talk about this curious strategy that we are witnessing now. KP Hidden, hi there. Good to see you in the chat. It's a bit later than usual now, and all of that. Carola, good to see you. Sally, um, they're hoping that this will go away. I think that's their strategy, and that is their strategy because they don't have any other strategy. That's why they are waiting and saying things like, I that was poor judgment of me. I made a mistake, and these things that they keep saying. And many of these people that are guilty, obviously, and were involved in these things that they did, they are saying that, or their lawyers are saying that they will be making a statement when they are ready. Yeah. So what they are doing is that they are waiting for us to. They're waiting for the storm to settle. They're waiting for screams to quiet. They're waiting for people to latch onto the next big thing, the next, I don't know, war, pandemic, the next thing. Because they know that when people do that, there will be much less attention to the crimes that they committed. And I think that, yeah, Ricardo, the UFO files, yeah, Trump tried that, but I think that, first of all, it was too soon. And now, too soon, I say, I don't want to give any advice away to these criminals. I don't suspect that they will be listening or watching this anyway. Not many people do, but you are here. That's wonderful. So it was too soon. At this point, if a UFO landed in front of the White House and these aliens with big eyes walked out and waved at people, people would say, that's great, but show us the names in the Epstein files. And so yeah, no, they are waiting for this to settle. That's why they're using the time. So it's upon us now to make sure that it does not settle, it doesn't quiet, it doesn't. This storm must keep, if I can be a little bit poetic here, let's keep this storm raging. Let's keep this storm raging. Let's whip up this storm even more. If you get what I'm saying here, we need people to be angry because we should be angry. We need people to be furious. These so-called elites that I call parasites need to be torn down. I'll just mention one thing here, and I'm at this point, you know how it is. I don't even care if YouTube wants to cancel me. They already basically shadow banned this channel. Wonder why? You know, the whole it the whole pandemic, the COVID. When you look at how Bill Gates and Epstein were setting up plans to monetize a future pandemic with vaccines and all of that, you have to ask yourself, and when we also know that it was a lab leak, that was the source of this virus. It was not that disgusting Chinese, I think they call it the wet market, where they torture animals. Um, I think that, yeah, I think that it's obvious now at this point that this was planned for, and people were tricked. And you could say, who would do that? Poison people with Billy Bob's cough medicine, poison people. Many people were killed, and all of that. I'm not saying there was no COVID, but I'm just saying that at least we must now ask the question: was this done on purpose? Was this done on purpose? When you look at the people involved here, now. I want to reply to a commenter. Eugene says Epstein files are not the biggest thing. So there's this idea, which is not a stupid idea, that the Epstein files are a cover up for something much bigger. I get where that is coming from, but I don't think so. I think this is something that some brave people, some of them are now dead. Mind you, they are dead. All committed suicides and accidents and so on, made this happen. And the so-called elites did not want this to happen. And then you can, of course, ask yourself, well, why these files? Why not all of them? Why not? We have only seen 2% of the material that the FBI has on Epstein. Why not all of it, and so on? So we can speculate on that all day long. We should always look behind the headlines. Is there something that they're trying to hide? Is this used to distract us? At this point, I have not been able to pinpoint anything that this is used to distract us from. This is in itself an irregularity in the system. Much like when Trump was elected the first time, actually. Now, Trump is, of course, all over these files, very, very guilty. And I find it incredible that there are still people who think that he's innocent. He's not. Come on. Wake up. So, yeah, let's get back to the topic. So their strategy now is a very simple one. They are using that because they don't have any other strategy. If this was just used to cover up something else, I can assure you that they would have, these so-called elites would have had their strategies pinpointed, all set up before the files were released. So when they don't have that, when someone like Bill Gates seemed to be just caught red-handed with his trousers down, quite literally, I think that this was an irregularity. It was not meant to happen, but it did. There are good people with sufficient power to make things like this happen in even the administration in the USA. There are good people out there. We must acknowledge that. Eugene's asking, what did Trump do? I will let you figure that one out for yourself. So I want to talk about the most perfect example of this strategy, which is the Norwegian crown princess, because it's if I had written a novel like that, my editor would have told me probably this is just too a little bit too much. People will not believe this. It's not very realistic, Bjorn. It's not. Because listen to this. So what seems to be obvious now is that the Norwegian crown princess had an intimate relationship of some kind with Epstein in 2011 to 2013, on and off, probably. And apparently she traveled so often to New York during that time that the Norwegian consulate, they were frustrated because she would just show up, and then they all of a sudden had to arrange bodyguards and transport and all of that. Someone knows because I mean, someone knows where she was. Okay. We're at that time of the. Oh, yeah, it's that time. Tell us what makes you. No, sure, Trump is guilty. I'm not going to go there because it's so fucking obvious. Even if I showed you the photos, you would not. It's not enough for you because you're going to be. You're going to be a Trump fanboy no matter what. So the thing here is that with a Norwegian crown princess, it's so obvious. And I don't think that she can become queen. And I think that I know this doesn't people outside of people in the USA, they hardly know about this. They don't care. I know how it is, but I care because I don't like the royalty. I don't like the monarchy. So it's unfair and it's stupid and it's something that should have been done. We should have been finished with that a long time ago, centuries ago. So the thing is that when you have a crown princess, she had an intimate relationship. We know that she spent time in Epstein's hotel room when he was in Oslo, alone with him, sometime there. What did they do there? Well, that's an interesting question. We know that she spent time living for 4 days. She was spent in his mansion in Florida, and he was also there. What did she do there? We know that she has a past with cocaine and things like that. You can't make this shit up, you know. And now she is sick because of her lung disease, apparently. Not apparently, she is sick. And that is an illness. She has an illness that you can get from using cocaine. Now, I'm not saying that everyone who has that lung disease has used cocaine. That's not what I'm saying at all. But it all these pieces fit so well together. And I think the Norwegian people are waking up to the fact that she was this party girl, and she didn't really stop partying, did she? And we are supposed now to accept that our taxpayers' money are going to actual cocaine for her son, the royal rapist, now in court. 38 crimes, 4 rapes. That's what he's accused of. The whole family, the daughter of the future king and the crown princess, there's a photo. It's obvious that she's using narcotics there on that photo. Some Americans, I know they are more stupidly more liberal about this. We Norwegians are not. We are wiser than that. We don't like to see that. We don't like anyone to do that. We don't want to see that. We hate it. And this is the royal family. So they are thinking that people will forget if they just wait. Has it been a month now? And she was supposed to make a statement. She hasn't. So that's why I think this is a perfect example. She has um, uh, yeah, she has been advised to just wait, and I will do my best to make sure that that storm does not quiet, that we will rip it up even more, because these things are unforgivable. Now, I'm different than many people, I think, especially in the USA. As I said, we are not as liberal in Norway as people in the USA, I believe. But if you use, if you use cocaine, well, any narcotic, you are supporting a system so brutal that I don't think you realize how brutal those people are and what they do. I don't think you realize, and you're partly guilty of that if you use those substances. Um, and I don't feel sorry for people who do that. I mean, I didn't have a very easy upbringing. I can fucking assure you that was not so easy. And I've never touched any fucking narcotics, never going to either. It's about integrity. And honestly, I don't like people who don't have integrity and will just choose the easy way out. Um, and I'm furious about the fact that we have these people who are leeches. They're sucking us dry, sucking the blood out of our bodies, so to speak, and taxes keep rising. And these are literal pedophiles that we are paying taxes. We're paying taxes to fund their pedophile crimes, their drug addictions, and their life in luxury. If it doesn't make you furious, I don't know what to tell you. Now I'm going to tidy up here in the chat. um, yeah, new here says if they wait a few centuries, perhaps things will be different. Yeah, this storm will not quiet because I'm not the only one who is furious. Furious. Yeah, another comment here about the links to Israel. I mean, they're trying now to link Epstein to Russia. And I don't, if there is such a link, I haven't looked into that one, but if there is such a link, I don't doubt that he would try to get those connections too. But I mean, Epstein was obviously connected to Mossad. Sally says the pieces fit. She screwed up, and it's not fair on the Norwegian people. Yeah, and it's not like there are weak people out there, and I'm not going. I am not a very forgiving person, but I mean, if someone who is young and stupid, maybe comes from a home with no boundaries, gets into bad company, and they try narcotics once, then okay. A lot of people, even here in Norway, would say that we should maybe forgive that. You know, at least that's what people are saying. But it's not. We're not so forgiving when it's when people are being honest. We're not that forgiving, really. But that's not. We're not even talking about that. We're talking about a habit of partying, of spending ridiculous amounts of money, taxpayers' money. Now I'm talking about Mette-Marit and the whole royal family. Ridiculous amounts. We're talking about a woman, a grown woman, a mother who was in a royal wedding, I believe, in Luxembourg. And she wrote to Epstein, it's so boring here. A royal wedding, so boring. How spoilt are you? when you write to your lover in the USA. It's so boring here. You can't. That's what I'm saying. You can't make this up. These are corrupted. These people are corrupted. These politicians involved here, they are corrupted. And I use that quote from Frank Herbert because I see some people now trying to say that, well, if you were in that situation, you would have been corrupted too. No, no, I would not have been corrupted. And I think you would not have been corrupted either. I think power attracts corruptible people. And I think people like Epstein, and he's not the only one. And I made a video on 2 days ago that on my main channel, I'm going to share those midweek musings to this channel. So they will be uploaded on both. And I said that there are more people like Epstein out there as we speak. And Tydem says, this is beyond corruption, it's systemic. Yes. And now I'm seeing that mainstream media, at least here in Norway, they're still trying to say that, jerky, cream cheese, pizza, it's a conspiracy theory if you think that those words mean unspeakable things done to children. They're still trying to say that. You know what? I wish that was true, but sadly it's not. Yeah, Sally says, I don't want power to begin with. You know what? I think that I want political leaders who are reluctant leaders. That people who don't want that power over other people. That's the kind of people I want in positions of power. Yeah. I haven't watched that interview with Hillary. I had a migraine and I just can't take the incredible nonsense coming out of the mouth of that vile woman. But I will get to it. She pretended it was all a hoax. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure she's. Can I use the word witch? She's like, she's a proper witch. Yeah, Sally says, I couldn't believe that Mette-Marit wrote that about being bored, so spoiled and self-indulged. Yeah. I think if you're a grown-up, well, not only if you're a grown-up, but most people, they realize that life isn't always so exciting. Usually you have to go to work, and maybe your work isn't always exciting. I'm a novelist and I have a line of work. My line of work is exciting, but that's what people think. A lot of the time it is just hard work, not artistically very exciting. That's just the reality of it. Maybe I should have some rich American billionaire female lover, and I could text her, oh, I'm so bored here, come and save me. You couldn't make this up. These people are so spoiled. And I haven't even gotten to these diplomats now. It's becoming very obvious that Norway being this peace nation. Yeah, maybe you haven't heard that. That's because that's what Norwegian politicians like to say. But maybe Norway is not seen like that outside of Norway. But anyway, they have been giving away millions upon millions upon millions. And it's becoming quite obvious that a lot of that has just vanished. At the same time, these diplomats and their friends have been buying luxury apartments, and this Terje Rød Larsen, one of those people there, and his wife, Mona Juul, they're both under investigation for corruption now. And it's obvious that they were corrupt. They built this palace on a Greek island. How do you do that as a state employee? How do you do that? So it's like, the other interesting question is, this has been going on for a long, long time. We're talking decades now, and people, we had whistleblowers, but nothing happened. And the Norwegian Conservative Party, they just elected, I mentioned you, Mona Juul, that's one of these people, one of her best friends as the leader of their party. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Norwegian Conservative Party going just down the drain. I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, Hillary said she didn't even meet Epstein. Yeah, do we have a photo of her with Epstein? I know there's a photo of Ghislaine Maxwell in Hillary's daughter's wedding. So, yeah. Yeah, Sally says, Mette lived an indulgent life when then was given the privilege to become a princess and serve something bigger than herself. Then she turns around and craps all over Norway. Yeah, I actually, you're right. And I actually think she's been doing that all along. Now, everyone in Norway knows that, hold on. This is healthy ginger lemonade, by the way. I'm trying to stay healthy, cutting down on the sugar and all of that. There's this video on Mette-Marit snorting cocaine off the tits of a black woman. Yeah, I said what I said. It's something that everyone of my generation knows about. And I would have been fine with all of that except the cocaine. I mean, if adult people, consenting adult people, whatever they do together, it's fine. I'm okay with that. But no, this is not a code for beer. It is ginger lemonade. Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So basically, what I want to say is that they are hoping that this won't go away, but it won't. I think it won't. And while we will be talking about other things here, I see this just getting bigger and bigger. And I think more information will be revealed. And they will then try to make up excuses for something, this is not going to go well for these people. And I think that in Norway, she will not become queen. I think we will have a divorce, and we will then have the king, a new king. He's Håkon, he's a globalist, World Economic Forum young leader, so you get one of those people there. Isn't it wonderful? And I'm saying he's the same age as me, and I grew up, hearing stories about him. He wasn't the nicest person around, These people were born they grew up without a concept of modesty at all. Yeah. So, any single ladies out there, the position to be future queen soon is available. You need to be good with your scissors because you will be cutting ribbons when they open bridges and stuff like that. Yeah. So ladies, get yourselves over to Norway and practice your smile and your wave to the people. You know, they wave like this to the people every 17th of May, our Constitution Day. Yes, you'll be standing on that balcony and waving to the children. And isn't that quite something? You have a woman involved with someone that she knew had already, because she Googled him and she wrote, "I Googled you, I agree it doesn't look good," smiley face, after he was convicted the first time. And sex with or the prostitution of a minor. And she has been standing there on that fucking balcony waving to the children walking past on Constitution Day. That's quite something. And she will be trying to say that she didn't know. She's already said, "I didn't know what he did, what he had done, what kind of person he was." What's that rhyme? Liar, liar, pants on fire. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, Tyrion says the amount of hypocrisy is mind-numbing. I agree. Trying to dodge the Christians again, huh, Bjorn? I don't know what you mean there. Let's see here. I can't get the context. I think the chat looks good. What I will not tolerate is people standing up for Trump. Trump is innocent and all of that thing. That's just too stupid at this point. We can't have that sink to that level in the chat. We just can't. Now, what was the next thing here? Oh, yeah. So, another thing that I find interesting is that Norway is now on top of all the NATO countries when it comes to military spending per capita. Higher than Poland, higher than the Baltic countries, higher than the USA. Which there's a lot to say about that. I believe that Norway should have a strong, be able, have a strong military. I don't think it's about manpower, but that's a different topic. What they have also done is that they have agreed to give money, billions, to Ukraine. And they have done it before, and now they promise to keep doing that, and it's an astronomical amount of money. We know that now we have gotten a glimpse into this world of where these politicians give away money. And we know that if you're not naive, you know that this is the tip of the iceberg. So Norway, when it comes to money going out of Norway, seems to be quite corrupt. That function of Norway seems to be quite corrupt. Ukraine is very corrupt. So you have a corrupt country, Norway, giving billions upon billions to another corrupt country, Ukraine. Who, in his or her right mind, believes that that could go well? Isn't that like a recipe of theft of taxpayers' money? Isn't that like a recipe of making people rich, people, corrupt people rich? Isn't that just you could just have said, listen, you Ukrainian statesman, politician, will just build your palace in some country for you. We'll just pay for your servants and your possible addictions. We'll just pay for that straight. It's more simple that way. Simpler that way. You get what I'm saying? Uh, so it's like, what could go wrong? And they keep doing this. And mind you, this will be rolled up in the future. Ukraine, you can practically write the script of that documentary already. You can just start writing it now, and it will go like this: countries funneled billions upon billions, especially Norway, to Ukraine, and a large portion of that went straight into the pockets of corrupt politicians. So makes you think, right? Yeah, Tyrion says the amount of money being siphoned out from our countries in Ukraine to Ukraine, you mean, is absolutely staggering. Yeah. The Scandinavian countries are super rich, aren't they? Yes. Well, I can only speak for Norway, and yes, absolutely. But it's still like if you need medical treatment that is very, very, very expensive, you might be denied that from the state. And we have what they call free healthcare here. So, Norway is rich, but not rich enough to properly care for all sick people. So keep that in mind. Yeah, another interesting part here is that some of that money will go to the USA because the USA will sell weapons to Ukraine using money from Norway and other such countries. Yeah. Yeah. Student says, we in the Nordics should form a proper Nordic defense alliance. Sweden, Finland, Norway, Finland. We are one people, more or less very similar. I agree. We could also form an economic zone like Finland, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Iceland, maybe Scotland. That would be quite something. Re-establish our dominance of the North Sea economic zone. That would be quite something. Imagine how dominant we would be when it comes to gas and oil. Yeah, Jason says, since the Russian pipeline was shut down, quote unquote shut down, Norway has made a pile of money. Yes, on gas and oil. It is true. It is true. But and there's an argument there that since Norway has made so much money on this war because of just that, then it's only fair that we give away money to Ukraine. I don't think so because yeah, because of what I just said with corruption. Yeah, when it comes to collaboration on defense, what happened was that Sweden, if you want to know, Sweden joined NATO. That enabled something very important: transport of military personnel and vehicles up north and from the north and down south. Before Sweden joined NATO, Norwegian troops could not move into, in a war situation, could not move into Sweden to go up north in Norway. Now they can. And the reason why that is so important is that an enemy could have closed off and isolated the north of Norway by actually bombing, destroying one bridge. Because Norway, if you look at the map, Norway is very thin up there. Kahina, I don't get what you're saying there. I'm not talking about a union. No, I think you got me wrong there. I'm not talking about a union. I'm talking about a collaboration. First and foremost, an economic zone. That's what I'm talking about. And when it comes to immigration, I don't want what has happened in Sweden to happen in Norway. It's bad enough as it is in Norway. There's a reason why I don't want to go to Oslo. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, I think that immigration to Norway should have immigration to Norway from certain areas should have stopped a long time ago. Yeah. So, but that's again a topic for another time. Yeah, Jason, also Finland joined NATO. Yes, of course. The way I have been explained it is that if military can move through Norway, Sweden, and Finland as if it was one area, then it makes transport and defense much easier. Isn't Norway experiencing a decline in native population? Yes. Yes. That is true. That is so did the USA and Canada, of course. But yeah. Let's see here. Let's see. No, Kahinalor, no reason to be sorry. I get what you're saying, absolutely. Is Finland, I forgot now, did Finland join NATO? We'll look it up. Yes, joined the 4th of April, 2023. Yes, that's what I thought. No, I don't get me wrong. I believe in strong borders between the Nordic countries as well. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, Jeffrey. Yeah, they joined because of Russian invasion of Ukraine. Yes, of course. But anyway, I have to go now, and I hope that you're doing well. Let's keep the storm raging. Let's keep the storm raging. They will be admitting more and more of their lies, like Bill Gates said. He said he had sex with 2 Russian females. Can I say that let's put it this way: when Bill Gates can make it, when he can get some, then there is hope for anyone out there. He doesn't. He is not like handsome, is he? Yeah, but I understand it's not about that. It's about power, money, influence, and all of that, of course. Yeah. So yeah, but the Great Horde says we heathens must unite. Absolutely, we must. Okay. Yeah, Jeffrey says Bill Gates can get a dream job for any woman. Yeah. Yeah, I'll just say one thing before I end this live stream. This Norwegian diplomat, Terje Rød Larsen, him and Jeffrey Epstein, they sent these young, uneducated girls back and forth and, quote unquote, hired them in diplomatic offices. That's just obviously just prostitution, that's what it was. But how do you think it felt for people who actually wanted a career in diplomacy? Someone young and just out of university, maybe you studied international politics or something, and then you apply for a job and you don't get the job in I don't know, some embassy. But then you heard that this Eastern European uneducated former model got a job there. That's enough to tear down any illusion or motivation that you maybe had. But anyway, okay, that's all for now. Have a wonderful day. We'll talk soon.